Matt. Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, Forrest. How are you, my dear friend?
I am bloody good, mate. Bloody good. All the better for hearing your lovely voice.
Oh, it's a joy. It's always a joy.
On this Sunday morning. Is it feeling quite early for you, Matt?
Not too early, relatively. Enough for a Sunday.
Relatively. Do you know, I think we might be joined by someone who is definitely feeling the early morning.
Really? Okay.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello, guys. I am so feeling the early morning.
Yes.
There's not a sun in the sky where I am right now. It is 5 a.m. over here in Texas, United States, and it's a good time to be awake. Early bird gets the worm, right? Early bird gets the worm.
That's exactly
100%, 100%. It's first time we're joined by someone in the States. Got an American on the team.
Oh yeah, so you gotta have a first time for everything. I've definitely done podcasts with a couple people. I've done some with an Australian. This is now my second time with someone over in the UK. So this is a blast. I love talking to people all over the world because ultimately we all just got a common nerdy mind of comic superheroes.
Oh, mate, I like. So so you're from Unqualified Heroes. Tell us a bit about your podcast, mate.
Yeah, so I am actually one of two people. I am a co-host for Unqualified Heroes. My co-host is actually on a cruise, so he couldn't join us today. Jealous of him. But Unqualified Heroes is primarily a comic podcast. So we talk about Marvel, DC, Star Wars primarily. However, we have been more expanded into just the film genre. So Oppenheimer, Barbie, Ninja Turtles, Mission Impossible, all the other films that have come out, and we just talk about everything that's going on in the world, and as far as film-wise, TV-wise, and just have a blast with it.
That's amazing.
You got to go and check their work out as well. There's some banging podcasts and some great online content as well from yourselves. So it's great.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Awesome.
Danny, it's amazing to have you here. So this week it is our monthly news roundup episode. So we're going to be talking about all kind of the latest news that's been coming out through DC and Marvel. We're going to be talking about primarily as well about the SAG and writer's strike as well that's happening in the US. It'd be really cool actually this week, because now we've got you, Danny, on as well, to get your kind of thoughts on how is it going in the US, what kind of the news coverage might be as well with the strikes. And from our perspective, so Danny, me and Forrest are in the creative industries in the UK as well. So we're represented by a union. Well, I don't know, Forrest, are you part of Equity? I don't know if you are.
I'm not now. Yeah, it was, but
right.
yeah, not now.
So there's a UK kind of equivalent to SAG-AFTRA, which is Equity UK, and we're part of those unions as well. So it'd be really cool to talk about kind of what things might be happening in the UK against what's already happening in the US. And yeah, talking all things MCU and DC. Yeah.
Fantastic.
That sounds awesome.
Beautiful. So let's get strikes is the biggest thing, right? So
100%.
let's get straight into the strikes. So Danny, what from your perspective, what is the coverage like about these strikes, and how is the actor strike going down?
Oh man, over here it's honestly a little crazy. I mean, as normal people, I'm not a creative person myself. My co-host actually is. He went to a film school, but we don't really notice it. But like as podcasters who primarily do stuff on film, on TV, like you really notice how like crazy this actually is right now, and how it can get, because this could actually go into 2024 of how long the strike could last. And the biggest thing is the stance that people are taking. It's not like something, because obviously they hold two very strong opinions of the writers and the actors strike versus basically the big heads of all the studios and no one's backing down. And for writers and the actors, that's a good thing, because that's something that you could just, ultimately that's your job, and you could just be like, well, I kind of still want to work, and still do so. But the reason why I got to this point is because of the overwork and the low salaries that they were getting. I believe it was reported someone on She-Hulk, I don't know exactly their role, but they only got like $300 for something that they worked on. I know that there was someone on The Flash who ultimately, I mean, basically everyone left The Flash, but there was someone of importance that that had worked on The Flash. He was a writer, or he was someone that worked on CGI, and he was like, oh, if it looks like if it was made in a week, it probably was. I left The Flash because I was just being worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's nuts. So it's really a good thing that this is happening, and if it means that we have to deal with delays, then we got to deal with delays. Like there's something more important here, but it's really crazy to see, because you never knew that it could actually get to this point where the strike was going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it has to happen now, because if it happens in the next 5-10 years, I think AI technology is just going to be too far gone. And in terms of the rights and the contracts that, these actors need to kind of like hold their, intellectual property, they and themselves as a human being, as a performer, and the crew as well, the artists and visual effects artists as well, they are their own intellectual properties. And I think it has to happen now. And I think you're right. I think, for us as, we do these podcasts, we're all consumers as well in terms of watching the movies. We're part of that in terms of, going to see the movies. And if it's a case of situations of like, we need to be delayed for a little bit, or even a little bit longer, like that's fine. It has to happen. Is there, I'm curious, Danny, is there quite a lot of coverage on like the news channels in the US about it?
Honestly, I don't think so. Granted, I don't watch the news as much because there's just a lot of stuff that goes on, but I really haven't seen it much on the news. They're more focused on the political side of things. However, I will say maybe it's just my feed, because my feed is primarily film stuff, but I have seen it a ton on my feed. So I mean, hopefully it's not just on my feed and it is on other people's, but I do hope that message is getting across. And if it's not getting across now, I'm sure it will once those delays we do start to feel the effects of the delays. Granted, there has been stoppages in filming, like Deadpool 3 was one of those that had just started filming and then stopped. However, we still really haven't felt the effects of those. So I think once we'll start, as consumers, we'll start to feel the effects of those. To the normal person, they probably may or may not know a strike is going on. So that we're like, oh, that movie is delayed. Why did it got delayed? And then like there'll probably be more coverage on news, on mainstream news outlets and stuff like that.
I think for me, what's most surprising, so two things come out of this. I think so. Bob, who heads Disney, has come out and said some absolutely stupid comments, it's just I find it very remarkable that someone. Well, I don't find it remarkable that someone in his power would say something so stupid, but I feel like at a time where actors can be, the actors who are shouting are not all actors that we would never have heard of, right? Some of these headline actors have been in lots and lots of stuff. I mean, in lots of stuff and lots of Hollywood stuff. So it really surprises me that someone like Bob would say stuff like that when actually people have a choice whether they want to do Disney stuff. And all you're doing is lend it, like, post strikes, they will make the choice to go, look, we don't want to be in a cahoots with an organisation that has those beliefs or have those thoughts. So they'll go to the likes of Netflix or they'll go to the likes of Amazon. So it really surprises me that he would come out with something so early on in the strikes.
I mean,
yeah,
he's
the
like,
mouse attacks again.
Yeah, he's like villainized himself even more so. He's gone from like being like Lex Luthor baddie. He's now just kind of doubled that up with Thanos and like Lex Luthor and combined into an ultra villain. It's incredible.
Yeah. But also it's you're getting a lot of actors who there was an actress who was in Orange Is the New Black, and it fails me right now who it is. Me and Soph are re-binging Orange Is the New Black as we speak as well.
Nice.
But I can't remember who's in it. But an actress and one of the actors who plays one of the guards in it has come out and said how little they were paid, but also how little, in essence, it's called. I can't remember what they call it. It would be called royalties over here for
they
music.
They call them residuals.
Residuals. That's it. How little they get, and with multi-billionaires like Netflix, it's outrageous that the majority of that money is going nowhere near the actors. So it is really interesting the stories that you're hearing
And
from this.
that's a really big part. Is now we got a lot of more streaming services. Primarily, Disney Plus is the newer one, and that really wasn't a thing before back then. It really kicked off when around COVID time. And for example, Scarlett Johansson, she's one of those A-list actors. Her movie Black Widow came out around that time, and there wasn't necessarily like rules written for how people would get paid through Disney Plus, like with the residuals, and like how does income work for an actor based off viewership for a movie that's on TV show, whatever it is that's on Disney Plus. And she had this whole lawsuit against Disney, and I believe she finally got her pay, but it took a while for that to happen. So that is a big factor that goes into these streamings. The strike is the streaming services.
Yeah, 100%. It's like these big companies, Disney, Amazon, Apple TV as well. All of these streaming sites have only just blown up over the last couple of years, and they've really clearly capitalized on the fact that we can make lots of money for little work. And they've really just gone straight into it and not put any proper policies in place, proper kind of contractual obligations and agreements with those creatives and artists out there. So it does feel like this is the right time for it to happen, because it could, just like we were saying earlier, like it could easily just get out of hand very quickly. Now, in terms of what I know, I think they're striking for various things, but I think the main two is a greater base pay in terms of their the initial fees, and also kind of better residuals as well. Now, in the UK here, so me and Forrest work as creatives in the UK, and I've been an equity union member for about 18 years now, and a lot of what we kind of see in terms of like primarily work in theatre, but like in terms of TV and film as well, the pay rates can gradually get a little bit more increased in the UK, but it only happens every 2 to 3 years, and they're kind of really minimal kind of increases. And usually with TV and screen here, it's that you have something called buyouts. So if you're going in for like a commercial, or you're going in for like a corporate gig, or like a bank advert, Stella Artois are really known for it. But when you kind of do these adverts, they kind of offer you a straight out buyout, and then those residuals or those royalties then don't exist. And then beyond that point, they can use your face, they can use your commercial for any given point. Say, if they want to like redo an advert. This has happened a lot in the UK, a lot of nostalgic adverts, like Cadbury's have done it recently over their Christmas adverts. That happened in the 80s, and they've brought it back now for nostalgic. Those people clearly aren't getting paid. So it's things like that I think need to change here. But equally, it's nice to see that they're saying it now in the US, because I do feel like there's going to be some sort of impact from whatever comes in the outcome with the SAG and WGA strikes. That will happen for equity as well. I feel like we'll probably go into strike action at some point, whether it's next year or within the coming months.
And with that, what was really interesting, so Equity released a statement where they were, massively positive for the strikes in the US and offered their support. But one of the things they specified was the fact that in the UK, because of anti-protest laws, quite new anti-protest laws, Equity wouldn't be able to do a like-for-like strike in the same way. So I think, like you say, Matt, it'd be really interesting what Equity do. I think they're campaigning for a change in the law anyway. But actually, I think what other creative ways and other different loopholes they can find in order to campaign in a way that is legal, but provide the same, a very similar action to what's happening in the States.
I think what scares me the most is the AI, I think, against this all. Like, the fact that they're able to sort of generate materials. I think it was a Secret Invasion. We'll talk about Secret Invasion later. I think it's the credit sequence in the beginning. That's all completely done
all
by
AI.
Mad. It's crazy. Yeah.
Someone at work, in the marketing team at work, right? They showed me they've got a brand new piece of software, and they were showing me that they needed this image needed to be resized, but when they resized it like stretched it out. So they needed like a larger version of the same image. So they put this image that they had into an AI piece of software, and it created the left and right parts to that picture. So you just had extra. It created extra content just based on a picture. I think it was a guy DJing, and it just extended the mixer, and it looked like a picture was there. It was ridiculous, and like he even pointed out all the dials that it had created, and it like created its own sliders. And I was like, it's just outrageous what AI can do. That's now. Do you know? That's quite beginning of the technology.
This is the very beginning.
100%.
And it is scary. James Cameron says, like, I warned you in Terminator.
How many movies do we have to be warned about? I mean, Mission Impossible just came out. Its main quote unquote villain is AI, which is it was actually a little bit too real. It was kind of scary. But like, there's so many indicators of what AI could be used for if it got out of hand. And this is one of those examples that they could just be these people who have worked very, very hard to get to where they are to just get replaced by AI. This is one of the hardest industries to move up to actually get up there. The thing is, if you're getting replaced with AI, whether it's through a digital image and you're kind of just using, I don't know, a replacement actor per se, or whatever it is, you're missing out on also the heart and the personality of the actor or actress that is playing that role. I mean, we think of Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Think of how many times he's just said his own lines or done his own little quirks that is not in a script. So it's like you're missing these things that make a movie great is the heart and personality behind it, but you're going to replace it with AI, and it's going to be just very rigid to a script that now also has no heart because the script is written by AI probably. I mean, I know people are already trying to work on doing that. So it's like, it's just going to all be so robotic. And could it be, I guess, decent enough to be good? Yeah, I guess. But it's like, where are we moving towards? It's not necessarily a good thing.
No, I mean, that's the whole point of this kind of, in terms of any kind of film, TV, theatre, live entertainment experience, it's all because you're watching stories that are played by human beings, right? And that's the one base foundational quality to anything that you see, watch, do, and entertain and moved by. We as human beings are moved by each other, right? So if you then take that away and then it's just done by AI and it's done by CGI, whatever it might be, it's just crazy. I think there was somebody in the picket lines was talking about that. Big companies like Disney in particular they're looking to like employ like background actors, right? Just for like $200 for a day, and then putting like Leonardo DiCaprio's face on top of that actor to then play those lines, and then that's how they get around with doing their stories and stuff. And it's just like so unnecessary and so ridiculous. But like it's crazy to think that they're doing this. They're really squeezing out and trying to save money to make huge profits when they can just give quite easily people what they're asking for right now in terms of these strikes.
They have the money for it.
Exactly.
It's not even like you don't have the money for it.
I know.
We talk about these like billionaires as if, you know, even if no film sold a single like a copy for 10 years, these billionaires would still have millions after 10 years. Like, it is, the way they talk is as if one film not doing well would literally rinse them dry.
Just
I'm like,
bankrupt.
they could feed every family in America.
It's insane.
It's absurd amounts of money, and it is ridiculous that we're in a position where people are having to protest about getting more than however much you said it were, like $300 for a movie or whatever it was. It's absolutely. I just find it astounding that people are having to just protest about it.
I mean, I'd be really interested to see, this time next month where things are in terms of negotiations and stuff. But like, yeah, dear listener, if you need to, look at any information, I'd highly recommend going on the SAG-AFTRA website, because they've got lots and lots of information. And as well, if you're based in the US and stuff, yeah, like there's all kinds of great information out there. But from a UK's perspective, like me personally, 100% support that. And in terms of what will happen here in the UK, I'm really interested to see if there'll be any movement from us. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, now it's 5:30. Has the sun started coming up yet, Danny? Or is there any light outside?
Yeah, from Light Post.
Yeah. No.
Oh my gosh.
I just love the idea that the sun, Danny's suddenly going to be emerged in light by the end of the podcast.
Oh yeah, at some point it'll come up.
Oh, well, thanks so much, man. So moving on from the strikes. So we've got a couple of other things that have been happening. Actually, Danny, because you had a great piece of news about Superman.
So Superman is Superman Legacy, the first movie of James Gunn's DC. Hopefully, this actually means DC will get its act together, because these movies are all out of whack. I mean, Flash actually just got reported that it is now the most bombed DC comic book movie in all of comic book history. It bombed more than the Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds. We all know how trash that was. Yep, it actually made less than that movie. So
that's mad.
It's pretty crazy, and that was even with all the paid promotion from like actors and other people. They were like, "This is the greatest movie I've ever seen." And
yeah, because that was a thing, wasn't it? The greatest superhero movie ever. Like that.
Everyone would say that. Tom Cruise himself even said that, and I'm like, "Oh wow, Tom Cruise. He's not even a superhero actor. If he's saying that, it must be really good." It wasn't that good. So, for the factor to bomb this bad, there's more stuff going on with Aquaman. So, yeah, this Superman Legacy, I'm pretty excited because James Gunn, he's directed The Guardians. He's directed The Suicide Squad. Like, he has a very creative mind for superhero films. And now that he's kind of like, he's not just a director, which he will be for Superman, but he's also like the CEO per se of DC. So we did get our Superman in David Cornsweet and our Lois, but now he actually confirmed three more actors that are going to be in Superman, and I guess going forward in his DCU, which is 1 second, let me get that pulled up. I already lost it. Basically, we got Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and Mr. Terrific. I'm not super caught up on Mr. Terrific comic book stuff, but Hot Girl, sorry, I said Wonder Woman, not Wonder Woman. Hot Girl, Green Lantern, and Mr. Terrific. So Hot Girl is going to be Isabella Merced. She is going to be in the new Madam Web. That is going to be through Amazon Prime per se. She was Dora the Explorer. Like she's been in a couple roles, and there is one major one that I'm missing. Let's see. Transformers and Instant Family. So she was in a couple different films, and she's a young actress. I know James Gunn has kind of wanted the younger aged people, so that way they can like grow with him to the films and not look wrinkly and old when they're in the film.
But it's all right though, Danny, because if they do look old and wrinkly, they'll use AI to make him look younger. So
exactly.
They did it with Harrison Ford, didn't they? In Indiana Jones.
That is true. That is true. And Green Lantern is actually going to be Nathan Fillion himself, who is Mr. Uncharted. He's actually worked with James Gunn all over the place. He was in Guardians 3. He was in the Suicide Squad. I use this joke multiple times on our podcast. James Gunn likes to reduce, reuse, recycle with actors. Like he'll just always bring on the same people, which it kind of makes sense. You like working with an actor, the actor likes working with you. Why not just bring him along for the next film? So he does that a lot. He's doing it again with Nathan Fillion. I do have a theory, however, that because Nathan Fillion is kind of that older guy, he is 52 years old. We do know that there's multiple Green Lanterns out in the world. I don't think he'll be the main Green Lantern going forward for DC. I think he's kind of he'll either be like a mentor to the main one, or maybe he'll die, or maybe he'll just be another Green Lantern out somewhere out there.
Just Nathan Fillion, just doing Nathan Fillion stuff.
Just doing Nathan Fillion stuff. He just said, you know what? I like working with you. Why not just be on this movie, even though you're not the main guy?
I love that. I think that's kind of the sweet spot you want as an actor, where you just got like, he knows what he's good at doing. He can make people laugh. He can make quick one-liners. Doesn't need much screen time, and he will leave a little mark in that movie. And it's exactly what he'll do. Like it's quite obvious what kind of place he'll be at, with the movie. Crazy. Nathan Fillion though, he's always been this steady stream of an actor that comes through just kind of these kind of like cult superhero things. Crazy.
I'm really looking forward to it though. It's gonna have to be a masterpiece, and James Gunn of all people will know that. I can't imagine how much James Gunn's gonna be sweating once he's got reviewers in the room, mate. He is gonna.
Oh gosh, he's gonna be sweating bullets based off of DC's previous history.
Everyone's gonna be watching that like a hawk. But has he given a role to his wife yet?
Oh, not yet. I think he actually said that she's not going to be in Superman. I think that's cap. We all know surprise cameo. There's his wife.
My favorite thing would be is if the whole film is like without her, but if the mid-credit scene, he does his like first DCU mid-credit, and she pops up and she's like, "Yeah, I told you I wasn't going to be in it," and it does like a Ryan Reynolds like Deadpool style. That would be awesome.
That would be phenomenal.
That would be brilliant.
That's so good. Mr. Terrific, I think, because I used to watch the Arrowverse, right? So I think there was a character in there as well, very briefly, that was played. Yeah. Was it Curtis Holt? That was then sort of a retired Mr. Terrific, I think. But I said it's bringing that into the movies. That's quite interesting. I think this is what Marvel were quite at that MCU are at that place now where they're introducing B characters, let's say, from comic book characters. And I think what's great about James Gunn, and this is what I think he did really well with his Suicide Squad, is bringing in those kind of characters that no one knows about to then make them quite unique in kind of this transferring that to the screen.
He'll give them a story that you care about.
That's it.
He'll get of all these characters.
Yeah.
He did it with Guardians. I mean, who was it when Guardians 1 first came out? Who was like, yes, Guardians? Like no one. Yeah. Now we're like in love with Groot, Peter Quill, and his story with. I mean, we saw Nebula have one of the greatest character developments of all time. We got all these different characters, even with Suicide Squad, that we cared about, and those were like not even necessarily like the big ones. So going into a film such as Superman Legacy and basically all his DC movies, because he's the CEO or head of it, it'll be really interesting to see his story perspective of how he makes us care about characters that we've seen potentially, like Superman, redundant of all. I mean, how many Supermans have we gotten? How many Batmans have we gotten? So, like, what are you going to do that's going to actually make me care more about it or about it again? And it's going to be really interesting. I don't have any questions about him yet because he's just done such a great work. But it will be. I mean, I'm holding on to a tightrope because, granted, like we said multiple times, DC has just been struggling hard, and they can't seem to get it right.
Yeah. I think we'll have to wait and see, but I think it's one of those things that what DC are really good at, and in terms of like comic books, they're really good at kind of having that human level to then supernatural level quite finely on that tightrope together. Where it's with MCU and Marvel comics, the kind of characters, maybe bar Iron Man and a few others, but like they're quite far apart from each other in terms of the supernatural and human level. So I'm interested to see how James Gunn does that as well. And in terms of our generation, we're quite used to now seeing quite a grittier version, the Snyderverse of DC. That whole thing will be gone. So in terms of this kind of brighter, more bold kind of like depiction of these characters, I'm really looking forward to seeing actually.
I'm interested once we get to his Batman, how that will look. So he's confirmed his first Batman project, as far as I'm aware, is going to be Batman and Robin. I can't remember what that's called. They've got a specific...
The Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, that's nice. Brave and the Bold. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that'd be brilliant, and it's a good idea to bring in the Robin part to that, because actually Batman and Robin is a much brighter side to the Batman. So actually I'm really looking forward to that and seeing the different films. I just hope he doesn't touch Flash with a barge pole ever. Hate the character, hate the things. There's so many better characters out there. Let's never do Flash. It doesn't matter who it is. Never do it, please. Detest Flash.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take. I love it.
I don't know. For me, Flash hasn't really got. It's not a superpower. It's more like a super ability. There's not a powerful there. He can just run far. Lovely job. Lovely, fancy. It's like your little sidekick. He is the Robin, basically, to someone's Batman.
He can just run fast. I love that.
What a take.
He'll be just running around you. All right. I'll carry on with the fighting, and you just pretend you do. You and Ant-Man just chill out with each other.
Oh gosh,
that is a hot take.
That take has to be posted on social media. That was phenomenal.
Everyone fucking raging. I'll be trending on Twitter. How dare you? Flash is king.
Well, I tell you what, speaking of bad DC movies, let's talk about Aquaman 2.
Oh my goodness. Is that even on the layer of bad?
This could break all the records in terms of it, being the worst movie coming out. It could break that one.
Flash just broke the record of worst gross DC comic book movie of history. What is Aquaman gonna make? That has zero like joy of someone wanting to see that movie.
That is so
you would have to pay me to see the movie from how bad it is. I mean, granted, I haven't seen the movie. It just finished its third test multiple its third reshoot of the movie because it's gone through so many
crazy.
Just complications with Amber Heard as Mara. They're like, do we keep her? Do we not keep her? Do we just shorten her stuff? I don't really know what's going on there. It's just been all over the place. And the first test screening they've had, I believe they've had like 5 test screenings already, but just because of all these reshoots. But the first test screening they had, apparently it was so bad that people walked out mid-theater. I don't think I've ever heard that in a test screening of people walking out of a theater.
Why has James just not cancelled it by now? Like,
right?
surely
make it a tax write-off. You will make more money making it a tax write-off than releasing in theaters. You're gonna lose so much more money. You could be this money that you're losing, you could pay to those actors that are striking. You're gonna lose so much money. You could pay those actors.
Could you imagine that's how they settle it? They're like, what movie do we not need? Oh, Aquaman 2. That's like 3 reshoots. Oh, we're spoiling money. Cancel it. Just give that money to them.
Unbelievable.
It's got to be cancelled, right? It's going to be like a last minute, like either that or it will be the only film for years that goes outside of COVID that goes straight to streaming. They won't even bother with cinema release.
It'll probably have a week on cinema and then it'll go straight to like digital release. Like the shortest run.
That's gonna be so bad. It's just don't release it. Just why? What is the point in releasing this movie? You know it's not gonna do well. You know people are just gonna hate you more. Yeah. You know, like you're gonna lose money. There's no benefit into releasing this movie. And I kind of feel bad for Jason Momoa because he's a great actor. Like no qualms with him. So it's like. It just sucks.
Yeah. You know what they'll do? They'll go. The reason why they're releasing all the Superman cast now is because James will go, oh, well, guys, if you go, you get to see the teaser trailer of Superman just before the film. So go and have a look at that. And then go and spend 20 quid on a ticket so you can watch the trailer for another film you're looking forward to.
Oh, my gosh.
It's going to be awful. It's brutal.
I feel like so I think Amber Heard is still apparently she hasn't been recast. So they've either written her out completely or minimized her to like 2 minutes on screen if that. But I feel really bad for Jason Momoa. I feel really bad for the movie. I feel really bad for it as a kind of it had the potential when it first came out. I think it had the potential for it to being quite interesting, something very different, a nautical kind of feel to a superhero, something that's quite unique. And Aquaman is a well-known enough, established comic book, superhero that could be translated quite well to the screen. Jason Momoa was a great casting originally, and I think it's such an unfortunate situation that he's in now. Like even his, input in the end, the credit sequence for The Flash, it's like, why? Like what? Like, what's that about? Like it just doesn't make any sense.
There's 0 point in putting that post-credit scene there. Yeah. Just for him to see him drunk there. But it's really just crazy to think because it's not even like the first movie was bad. It was actually pretty good. I enjoyed the first Aquaman film. So for it to be just like, I don't know, for it to go through the issues that it's going through, for it to be as bad as these test screeners are saying, which once again, I don't know how you get into a test screen. Sign me up. I don't know how you get into a test screen, but these test screeners literally just walking out of the theater and hating on it so bad. It's like, wow, what happened between the first film and the second film for it to do that?
So
it's made up of Marvel fanatics. They were always going to leave. They were like, let's all go in, walk out, make a scene. James is not making DC better. We're getting it. If he leaves us, we leave him.
It's just a room full of Henry Cavill fans. Just like, it's not the same, man. Snyderverse.
It's not the Snyder cut.
Where is the Snyder cut? Talking about Snyder Cut, it's the next thing we should talk about, Danny, because apparently, and you'll know because you've seen both Barbie and Oppenheimer, but apparently in Barbie there is a Zyder, I don't know what you'd call it, a little bit of
a reference. Right, yeah.
There you go. Reference. That's the word.
So, I mean, Snyder Cut is making its way all over the place. There wasn't another film or show, can't remember which one it was. I do know that it was also in New Girl, which is like the sitcom show that's on Hulu. And now we got the Snyder Cut on Barbie. So people still making jabs at it, and it's not even like a comic book movie, and it's still bringing it up, which is it's pretty funny because it just goes to show like how crazy these people are, of these like Snyder Cut fans. Yeah, it's just really interesting to see.
It goes to show, doesn't it? Like in terms of how vocal like fandom is in comic books, you know, superhero movies as well through DC and sort of MCU as well. Like it's insane, and how divisive is it? It is. I wonder if you felt it as well. In terms of being like a podcast content creator, like when you like share a little opinion, sometimes it could be like pushback immediately on a post. Like it's crazy.
People will die on a hill based off their opinion that they have for. It's so funny because like we all love the same stuff, so it's not even like we don't like. We all love comic book stuff, but we have like there's differing opinions on within that realm, and people will come after you based off those opinions.
Which is why on social media I think Flash is brilliant.
Let's go with that.
I'll be tweeting how good Flash is later. Just like only joking.
Best comic book movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, 100%. But do you know what will just dawn on me? So so you've seen Oppenheimer and Barbie. So it'd be good to get your thoughts on those, Danny. Me and Matt are yet to see either of them. But it's quite interesting because what's just dawned on me is that actually, because there's been such a big marketing drive for both films, and like social media seemed to make kind of memes based on both of them coming out, and then the marketing teams for both films have gone, fuck yeah, we'll use a bit of that, thank you very much, and just absolutely ran onto that. But I suppose what's interesting is actually from a actors and a writer's perspective, they are thinking, well, with the strikes going on at the moment, these film distributors want these films to do as well as they can do, because they know for the next however long we might not have this moment again, because there won't be as many big film releases. So it's quite interesting, isn't it, that we're all going to go and see these films, but actually from a certainly for us, Matt, being in the creative industries, part of you is like, well, actually, do I want to go and see those films, and do I want to invest money into those films when the money is going to go to the very people who, their strikes against, basically. It's quite interesting.
That's a really, really good point, because like, as a whole, do like consumers for cinema care enough about the fact that you'll have AI as these actors, going forward, or the intellectual property won't be, to the actors. You'll have AI left, right, and centre in your cinema, for scripts and all that kind of stuff. Do they actually generally care? I don't know, because obviously I'm in a certain boat with this kind of thing. But like, I'm interested to know. Yeah, like, do you think that they would kind of go boycott cinemas in solidarity for the strikes? I don't know.
I think if you've got a popular enough spokesperson, so if Margot Robbie, for instance, with the fan base that Margot Robbie's got, came out and said, this is disgusting, you need to take notice of this. So it's all about, the average Joe is only ever going to be listening to someone that they associate with, right? So if we're getting, secondary characters, as much as the Orange is the New Black article was really interesting for me, for the majority of people, for those two actors who haven't really appeared in much else, they're not gonna change the waves. Whereas your Margot Robbies, your Tom Hiddleston's, who's Spider-Man, who's the other Tom I'm thinking
Tom
of?
Holland.
Tom Holland, that's it. If Tom Holland came out and went, this is disgusting, you need to take notice of this, I can imagine a genuine boycott could happen.
Well, that's what they're calling for. So Michael Rappaport, only a few days on Twitter, called out the likes of George Clooney, Leonardo DiCaprio. Those are the kind of actors that are having these meetings and have like personal relationship with the big wigs up at Disney, Amazon, whoever, Apple, whoever. The big companies out there. Those are the actors that are in those people's pockets. And they're calling, he was calling them out to go, look, you're the people that need to be in the picket lines. You're the people that need to be saying, yes to the strikes and all that, because that will then make the change happen quicker. And I think what you're saying, Forrest, is exactly that. I think we do need the biggest spokespeople out there in Hollywood to represent it.
Because you've even got people like Tom Cruise who were trying to bypass it in order to go to their premieres and stuff. There was a whole thing about Tom Cruise was disappointed that he couldn't market Mission. I'm like, Tom, come on, you're one of the biggest people, and you just trashed on the whole industry by going, oh well, I really want to make sure my film's popular. I mean,
hey man, when you jump off a cliff with a motorcycle 36 times to get a right take, sometimes you just gotta do what's best for you.
Tom Cruise is a different specimen of person.
I've already made up my mind that if there's anyone on this world that's a squirrel, it's Tom Cruise, because this man does not care if he lives or dies.
That's so true.
Why care about anyone else if you can't care about your own life? Nice. But Danny, so tell us your thoughts about both films. It'd be interesting.
Oh, okay. Both of these films are very, very great. If you weren't in Oppenheimer, you were in Barbie, because it seems like both these casts are low-key stacked, and I was like, okay, none of these people were in Oppenheimer, so they had to clearly be in Barbie. And it's funny that they both came at the same time. I mean, it's a win-win for the studios, because originally you're like, oh, one of them has to move, so like we can both make money. But then none of them budged, and then the fandom was just like, let's just make it a win-win for both of them, and let's go see both of them. And Barbenheimer happened; it was created, and now it's like, okay, cool. None of us have to move. So, granted, Oppenheimer is PG-13, so it will make less money. And that's usually just the case with. Oppenheimer is Barbie's PG-13, so automatically Oppenheimer is usually going to make less money. Our movies usually do. Barbie has already made like twice the money Oppenheimer has, just in the first couple days of being released. But both of these films are drastically different films. I didn't see them in the same day. I saw them 2 days apart. I saw one on Thursday, one on Saturday, but drastically different movies. Oppenheimer, very, very serious tone. But it's a cinematic masterpiece. Like it was cinema. The last movie I saw that I could probably say that was the second Top Gun. But even before that, I can't remember a film that was like literally cinema. This had 0 CGI shots. Crazy that now we're like, back then, if you had CGI, like you were the bomb. Now it's like you don't have CGI. Like, okay, now you're actually cool. So just seeing the shots that Christopher Nolan had in this movie, and the work the actors put in, all the casting was really great. I mean, this dude made a bomb, like in real life, made a bomb because he didn't want to use CGI for the film. Like, that's unbelievable. But it had some cool things, like there was black and white footage, and there was also colored footage to depict like a subjective versus objective point of view. Like, it was really cool. Christopher Nolan loves to go the extra mile, just doing weird stuff. Inception, Interstellar, all these other films that he's had. Tenet, I still don't understand Tenet because it's just too out of my mind. But it's just a very great film. I will say you do have to very much pay attention to the movie. One, they talk kind of quietly. I kind of need subtitles. I have to watch it again. There's just a little too like softness in some people's voices. But two, it's just you really have to pay attention. There was a couple times where I would say, I know some people walked out of the theater like, I don't even know what happened. I understood what happened. Granted, I have some historical context, but as most people should. But it was like you really have to dive in because Christopher Nolan is just such a like abstract type of director that sometimes you could lose what he's trying to depict. So try not to have alcohol in your system when you're watching it. But as for Barbie, take as much alcohol as you want to. This movie was like absolute blast. It was really funny. The casting once again did great. Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling. He actually did way better as Ken than I would think amazing. That he would because he's kind of old. But it was a really cool thing to see. Barbie Land that they did. It was like so toy-like. It was awesome. Like they were taking a shower, like drinking coffee or whatever, but there was like no water coming down. There was no liquid in the coffee. Like it was like they were just pretending to drink it, like an actual toy that you would do, when someone's playing with Barbies. So it was actually really cool to see this toy land that they built, and all this pink that they use and causing a pink shortage. But it was just really interesting to see. I think it was very fun. It is not for kids. Like it's PG-13 for a reason. Like I was like, why would they make Barbie? How is that not a kids movie? And then I saw, I'm like, oh, that's why it's not a kids movie. There was a lot of like I don't know, sexual elements to it. There was like here and there, like there was a bunch of different jokes. I'm like, yep, that's not a kids joke. But hey, to each their own. I will say this does. You're either gonna hate it as a male or you're gonna like kind of enjoy it as a male, mainly because it does push a message. It pushes multiple messages. One just being like everyone is important, is special, whether you're old, you're young, you're big, you're skinny, whatever it is, and that's great. And it also pushes they also push it as, I guess, this quote unquote feminist I guess message, and there's different levels to that, as there's different levels to everything. There's different levels of politics. There's different levels of everything. Some people may feel as if this movie had a little bit too much high of a level of a feminist push. I'm not quite sure. I'm still kind of sitting on it. I knew it was going to have that, and I still very much enjoyed the movie. I do think that there may or may not have been too much. I'm still kind of like sitting on it. I was like, am I supposed to like feel like a terrible person because I watched this movie? Like I wasn't sure because it did kind of like rat on like males, but like I don't know like to what extent like it was trying to do that. So I'm not sure how I was supposed to feel. Some people might be like, oh, this thing is like anti-male. Maybe it is. I don't really know. I'm just someone who loves movies. But I still very much enjoyed it. It's really just gonna depend on your opinion. But I do think, as the majority, for females, which I guess is the primary audience, you're gonna love this movie.
I think what's really nice about both these movies is that they are polar opposites to each other, and they've both been able to sort of capitalize on marketing each other's movies, simultaneously. And I think this is one of those things, if you're a moviegoer and you're a movie lover, you've got to experience, simultaneously, within a couple of days with each other, or either on the same day, seeing both movies, because they're so different. And like
so different.
Christopher Nolan's one of my favorite directors, if not my favorite director. And I think in terms of like what he does in terms of cinematic experience, it's you cannot compare it to anybody else, and it's so unique. I'm really, really excited to see both movies. I intend to go and see both at some point, and hopefully on the same day. And I've never done that before, so I'd like this to be the first.
It's so cool watching them like in a short period of time with each other, because one is just like this, I don't know, happy like choreography filled with pink and dancing, and the other one's like bomb, death. I don't know. It's so crazy.
I think it kind of gives off my personality brilliant. I love dark, like gritty stuff, really real stories, but I also am a musical fan as well. I love musicals. I love big bright colours. So it's kind of, I'm going to get this kind of Like every part of me is going to be fulfilled
Right.
with those two movies.
Genius. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm seeing Oppenheimer, so next week I'm losing my IMAX virginity. I've never been to the
yes.
IMAX.
Yes, watch Oppenheimer in the biggest screen possible. You can see it.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I was like, if I am splashed in the cash for any film, it is Oppenheimer to see the big. Yeah, it's got to be.
That's going to be incredible.
It's going to be ultra. I can't wait. I want it to blow my little socks off.
Yeah.
It'll be great. But yeah, Barbie, I still haven't booked for. I don't know. I can't go on my own. That's for sure. That's
You can't go on your own. You
course
can't
you
go
can.
on your own. You have to go with at least one other guy.
I love that. At least one other dude, another dude.
You gotta at least one other
dudes.
dude.
Two dudes.
That's okay.
If it's two dudes, it's okay. But if it's just one, it doesn't work.
Oh god, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm seeing, but I might wait for Barbie to come onto the streaming service. I'll watch it that way. But what is so good about the marketing for Barbie is that. So I went into town yesterday, and just everyone, like so many people wearing pink. And it completely escaped me about Barbie. Like, I think I was having lunch during work, and I was just like, I've just seen about 10 people wearing pink, which isn't unusual, but it was they were quite. I was just like, this is a lot, and then I saw this whole group of girls wearing pink, and I was like, yes, Barbie. And it's genius. It's just a level of marketing. It's so like you're getting people to dress up, coming in, dressing in pink. Like it's amazing. And I think I said earlier about the strikes and the money, where the money's going. But actually, getting people in the cinema is great because cinemas don't have the money. And we are in a state where cinemas could disappear if we're not careful. Within the next few years.
Yep.
And that's the last thing we want. Watching film at home is great, but it is no replacement for hearing it, like seeing it on the big screen and listening. Like I'm a massive advocate for cinemas, and that's the last thing I want to see go. So actually, go and watch the film, but it's amazing because all of the film sales, none of the money goes to the cinemas. It's purely from popcorn and pick a mix and all the massively costly stuff. I'm assuming that's the same in the States, is it, Danny?
The snacks and stuff.
So you just cinema. Yeah. The
All the money
tickets
basically goes to the films and whatever they decide to allocate that. The movies just make money based off popcorn, all that other stuff.
Is it really expensive, or is it?
It depends on the theater you're going to.
Right.
And I would probably also say it depends on the state that you're in. Some states that are more expensive, probably gonna have more expensive tickets, more expensive popcorn, stuff like that. Okay. I've seen popcorn, large popcorn buckets ranging from $7 to $15. So it really does just depends on where you're at.
$15 would be like 17, 18 quid, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Over here?
Somewhere around there.
That's insane.
So it's expensive. I've seen movie tickets from $5 to, for a regular showing, not IMAX, not anything. I've seen them from $5 to $13. So it can get expensive. It can get cheap. Where you're at.
One thing that I want to try that I know America has in cinemas that we don't is it called butter corn, where you put it's got actual, you don't just have popcorn, you have you put I don't know if it's butter, it can't be actual butter. I'm assuming it's and we're talking
like butter, butter on the popcorn.
You you actually butter the corn, right? You put stuff on it.
Yeah. It's like fake butter, but it's,
That's what I thought. Because we don't. You just have dry popcorn here. We just have
dry popcorn. Really, unflavored popcorn.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's flavor. Yeah, it tastes. So we have sweet, salty, but we don't have this fake butter. Because if you put actual butter, I could have. Jesus Christ. I'm like, oh, but yeah, I don't know what it is you put on it in the States, but I want me some of that.
It's like this liquid butter that they put on there, and you click a button and you just move your popcorn around, and it's just all buttered. And
Wow.
it's phenomenal.
That's
best thing ever.
I need to. And has it got different flavors, or is it just one thing?
You can have different flavors. Not all theaters have the option for different ones, but usually it's just the standard buttered flavor. But there are other options as well.
We got to catch up, man. We got to get this in the UK. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, bring it over. Let's have that.
We're coming out. Oh, what do you want? Oh, you can have either salted or sweet. Can I have both? Oh, really? You know, it's such a chore to put two in one as well. Like it was ridiculous.
There's a reason why they say America is like obese and stuff.
Trust me, Danny. My physique, wouldn't mind how big. Well, I mean, I'm not much better over here. But yeah, it does surprise. It genuinely surprises me because we haven't got that. And another thing I want to try that we haven't got is a corn dog.
Yeah, corn dogs.
We don't
Classic
have corn
American
dogs.
food.
We don't have that, and I'm very surprised they haven't come over. Mm-hmm. Very surprised. We've got everything else.
All our food is like fake, so I mean, you can try it, but you don't want to be around it that often.
Have you been over to the UK ever before, Danny?
I've not been to the UK. I've been to Germany, Italy. I've been to like more of the European states, but I have not been to the UK yet. I do plan that. It is on my bucket list, just not yet.
Yeah,
Right,
nice.
you let us know when you're coming down. We'll meet up.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
Definitely. We'll go and see a movie. Yeah, you can have our
I'm gonna ask for
popcorn.
buttered popcorn over there. And they're like, what the hell is this guy talking about?
They were like mind blown. What? We could have been doing this the whole time. Amazing.
Right, well, this has been incredible. Danny, we need your thoughts, mate, because next week is our first wild card movie. So we do kind of like every now and then we'd go out of the phase 4, reviewing all the MCU stuff. And we just do a few weeks of kind of, wild card movies. Any movie, it can't be superhero related for this bout of movies that we're going to look at. But is there one movie that you would like us to review next week?
Ooh, and it can't be in theaters.
No, not in theaters. So
Not
one
in
that we
theatres.
can easily watch. Like it can be an old film, or it can be more modern. Whatever you found. This is. By the way, we're massively surprising Danny with this. By the way,
I
we
know,
have not.
yeah,
we
are.
did not warn Danny about this. Prior to the
Yeah, I was
podcast,
like,
so-
oh my gosh, so many movies are like going through my head.
All the movies.
Just going through, I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, since Christopher Nolan is now out with Oppenheimer, I'm gonna bring up another Christopher Nolan film, and I'm gonna say either Interstellar or Inception. And those are some of my favorite movies of all time. I actually very much love those two films. You guys can choose.
That's a
of the
great
two,
shout.
But those are two just phenomenal films that Christopher Nolan has directed. So I would say those are two good ones.
Oh my gosh, that has literally got me so excited, mate.
That's a
amazing.
brilliant shout. That's amazing. So Inception or Interstellar. So which one we're gonna do, Matt?
I don't know. We'll have to find out, dear listener, next week.
Surprise!
It's gonna
We'll
be-
surprise
We'll find
everybody.
out.
Yeah. That's great.
I'm excited. Thank you so much for that, Danny. That's amazing. Great show.
welcome.
And thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully we can have both of you on at some point for Unqualified Heroes. Bring you back on again. For sure.
Thank you. I very much appreciate it. I know I'm sure, well, I was going to say he's probably sad he's not on, but I doubt he said he's on a cruise. The sun is finally starting to somewhat come up. It is a great day. I wasn't sure the sun would ever come up again. But I am just very honored to be on this show. Like, you guys have some phenomenal work. Like, you really have great stuff, which is why I was just so excited to be on here. I hopefully one day in the future could come back, or you guys could come onto our show. However
100%.
it is, you guys just are an absolute blast. So the honor is all mine, and I very much appreciate it.
Cheers, mate. Once I've been cancelled because of the Flash comments, maybe you can fill in for me. Mate.
Yeah,
Pussy.
we'll need a new co-host in a few weeks, I think.
Like, what happened to your co-host?
Brilliant. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next week for a Christopher Nolan special. Can't
Oh,
wait.
yes.
Oh yeah.
Cool. See you later.
There you go. Bye-bye.
See ya.